And I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
I want to talk about flat Earth. And I notice things like when you search it in a search engine, all you get is misinformation. You don't even get real critical thought on it. Well, I saw the blanket censorship, which tells me there's truth to it. It tells me that they're panicking. They're in panic mode, and they don't want us to have real tangible information. More importantly, they don't want you to think critically about it. See, we're in the information age, and this is what the tactic is. This is why Logan Paul just did a video on flat Earth. It's why Shane Dawson just did a series of videos. It's to discredit the real truth. It tells me that there's something here that they don't want you to know. It tells me that mainstream science, NASA, and more importantly, our government powers are panicking. So they're hiring through the same companies that they own, because there's only 6 companies, by the way. If it's a wild conspiracy theory, why do they need to discredit it? If it's a wild conspiracy theory and it isn't the truth, and no one's going to believe it because they're smart enough to think on their own, why do they need to discredit it? Why do they need, and these same people, keep in mind, Logan Paul, Disney is the parent company. I'm pretty sure he gets a check from Walt Disney. Why would they then put out these misinformation campaigns? I mean, ask yourself these logical questions. I think we know the answer, and I think we know the reason. Is it possible that we're living in that Truman Show today? We're living on the flat Earth with the dome, the firmament. As we start to look around us, we start to wake up, our eyes open, maybe that third eye opens, we start to understand, wow, this isn't what I thought it was. Maybe instead of being a worthless blob of goo that came from nothing and then developing into apes that were oohing and ahhing and then eating bananas like a bunch of idiots, maybe instead of that, we actually are the center of the universe. Maybe we are special. In fact, maybe there is unbelievable evidence of creation, but the government has decided to hide that from you. Why? Why is there so much misinformation? Why is there a giant disinformation campaign going on right now when it comes to things like flat Earth? Are my eyes lying to me? Or can I trust what I'm actually seeing? But Christopher, the Earth is a globe. I was told that when I was 1 year old. They said, look, this is a globe. Isn't it interesting? It's one of the first things that you're actually taught. The Earth isn't flat, it's a globe. Even though for hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years, they thought that the Earth was flat. Oh, but Christopher, we have all these images of outer space that show that the Earth is a sphere. Really? Where do the images come from? NASA. Oh, you mean the same NASA that is our government, our secretive breakaway government that hasn't been back to the moon since the 1960s. That NASA? Have you ever seen it with your own eyes? How come none of the electronics account for curvature of the Earth when you're flying a plane? None of the engineering of bridges and train tracks, buildings, all kinds of infrastructure that goes for miles and hundreds and maybe thousands of miles, none of it accounts for, in its actual engineering blueprints, for the curvature of the Earth. I mean, if I was building a giant bridge with hundreds of miles, wouldn't I have to account for the curve? Or is it possible there's not a curve and that we've been lied to for a reason?
Everybody in this room was taught the story of how Columbus went before Queen Isabella of Spain and he was going to prove to her that the world was round. The globe. So this world is round story is 100% bullshit. It's total fiction. Yet how did our grandparents learn this? We learned this. Our grandchildren are probably going to learn this. How come? Because history is pop culture.
Big deal.
This is about gaslighting.
If I confronted her with the facts, they were batted away.
She was abused,
And it's not okay
look at this.
to think that the earth was flat. I was
They
sprayed
tell you
with
what to
words of
think.
adoration and words of
The box really ticks me off. You know, I had that Michelle Thaler and on there, and she's saying it's not okay to think the earth is flat. And she's on a show called Big Think.
So I don't really know what's going on right now with this earth is flat thing. And it's not okay to think that the earth is flat.
Of course, I parodied it when some other person was on there, and I called it the big stink. Because it's not about thinking. When you have somebody up there telling you what it's not okay to think something, even if it were something that isn't true, hey, it's okay to think it. If maybe somebody's experiential evidence that they're privy to would lead them to the conclusion, you can respect a thinking mind if you're on a program called Big Think. But that's not what it's about, of course. Anyway, I have her making laser beam eyes to that box
And it's not okay to think that the earth is flat.
of the Apollo 11 moon landing. And that little box, that's the least of the things that they do.
That the earth was round. And you could make all kinds of measurements. And Eratosthenes noticed that there was a town called Syene. And on a certain date,
Exactly what people think. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Creative content and the earth is
You're trying to provide.
way is by demoting quality content and
The box saying, nope, the earth is not flat.
promoting more authority. Correct.
Okay.
Since I have two channels, because I can't be like a regular YouTuber and have one channel, a regular YouTuber who doesn't have to worry about all this stuff because they talk about makeup or something that is officially okay, that in a different time, like in the, I don't know, early 1950s, that would have been controversial and they'd be all, do you see how it is? You see how it's unfair? So just try to be empathetic, please.
Sorry to cut you off. I only have a minute and a half, and I cut you off. I only have a minute and a half, and I don't really need to hear what you're trying to provide. I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
Conspiracy theory content generally, our goal is to promote authoritative content to our users. So we have two principles that guide the way here. That's the first one, is we want to provide users with authoritative, trustworthy information.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I only have a minute and a half, and I don't really need to hear what you're trying to provide. I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
So the first way is by demoting low-quality content and promoting more authoritative content, and the second is by providing more transparency for users. So we're introducing boxes that provide factual information at the top of results that have shown themselves to turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for the earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of
Your response is to put a
videos
box saying, nope, the earth is not flat.
Correct.
Okay.
So we're introducing boxes that we want to provide users with authoritative, trustworthy information.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I only have a minute and a half, and I don't really need to hear what you're trying to provide. I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
So the first way is by demoting low-quality content and promoting more authoritative